I must confess, before reviewing this car, I forgot all about the Jaguar I-Pace. I can't remember the last time I saw one at an auto show, much less on public roads, which is a terrible shame because this all-electric SUV not only looks amazing, but it drives well and is surprisingly functional. If you're shopping for an upscale, battery-powered utility vehicle, something like an Audi e-tron, Tesla Model Y or maybe even a higher-end Ford Mustang Mach-E, you should absolutely consider this super chic Jag. Still a looker. Even though it's no longer the new hotness, the I-Pace still looks like a concept car that escaped an advanced design studio. The vehicle's rounded, rectangular grille is all Jaguar all the time, and a familiar face for first-time EV buyers that may find more unconventionally styled rivals too avant-garde. But those arcing front fenders, that almost impossibly short hood, the unadorned bodysides and squared-off rump make this SUV both beautiful and unmistakable. I especially love the pop-out exterior door handles. They feel sturdy and built to last, yet look so cool when retracted, allowing the vehicle's flanks to flow uninterrupted from wheel arch to wheel arch. Leering LED headlamps, a $750 Portofino blue metallic paint job and the standard, two-tone 20-inch wheels complete this I-Pace's ensemble. If you're feeling frivolous and don't mind a likely degraded ride, you can spend a little more and get this SUV with 22s, which should really make a statement. Not new, but decently improved. For 2022, the I-Pace gains a handful of minor but impactful upgrades. One of the biggest changes is the inclusion of new infotainment tech in the form of Jaguar Land Rover's Pivi Pro system. Somewhat controversial, people seem to either love this multimedia arrangement or dislike it, though I am firmly in the former camp. With a clean, almost minimalist look, Pivi Pro is drop-dead gorgeous on this vehicle's 10-inch touchscreen. That design simplicity also makes the system a cakewalk to use. Functions are easy to find, so you don't have to go rifling through half a dozen menus to accomplish simple tasks. Naturally, both wireless Apple CarPlay and Android Auto are supported, and you can connect two phones simultaneously via Bluetooth. The only downside is that sometimes Pivi Pro can be a little laggy, but this is not a major complaint. Aside from that upgrade, all I-Paces now come standard with a powerful Meridian 3D sound system. Over-the-air software update functionality has been enhanced and engineers have improved the vehicle's rejuiceability by adding a new 11 kW AC onboard charger, which enables this Jaguar SUV to absorb 63 miles of range in just 15 minutes when hooked to a 100 kW DC power source. Further bolstering its roster of tech, a new 360-degree camera system and a rear camera mirror are now offered in this all-electric SUV. Powerful performance, adequate range. With two motors and a permanent all-wheel drive system, the I-Pace is graced with 394 horsepower and 512 pound-feet of torque. Heady, if not quite lucid Air Dream Edition numbers. Still, that's enough firepower to deliver a 0 to 60 mph time of just 4.5 seconds, and boy howdy, does this SUV feel every bit as quick. Stand on the accelerator and the I-Pace's nose lift, the vehicle rockets you down the road with giggle-inducing force. Terminal velocity is 124 miles per hour. For a vehicle that weighs around 4,784 pounds, this performance is impressive. But beyond its brute power, the I-Pace's acceleration is super smooth and extremely linear. It blitzes forward with practically the same vigor on the highway as it does right off the line. Some EVs lose a noticeable amount of steam as speed increases, but not the I-Pace. The handling and ride quality are as you'd expect for an electric vehicle. The I-Pace is always planted and sure-footed thanks to the lower center of gravity provided by its underfloor battery pack. The steering is free of kickback, though it's not particularly engaging, while the ride quality is refined and smooth despite those sizable wheels. The air suspension does an admirable job smothering roadway imperfections. This bit of tech also allows you to adjust the ride height, elevating it for slightly more ground clearance if you want to venture off the beaten path, though this is by no means a rock crawler. As for tech, the I-Pace comes standard with rain-sensing windshield wipers, lane-keeping assist, blind spot monitoring, rear cross-traffic alert and surprisingly smooth and attentive adaptive cruise control. You know, the usual suspects these days. You also get a power-operated tailgate as well as heated, power-folding mirrors. A liquid-cooled, 90 kWh lithium-ion battery pack serves as the I-Pace's sole energy reservoir, giving this example an EPA estimated range of 222 miles. Which is an adequate if not awe-inspiring figure. Still, that number pales in comparison to the Model Y, which offers 330 miles of range when properly equipped. That Tesla is also significantly more efficient. This example is estimated to return 78 mpge city, 71 mpge highway and 75 mpge in mixed driving. In comparison, the thriftiest Model Y is rated at 140, 119 129ths on the same test cycles. The Ford Mustang Mach-E is appreciably more efficient, too. Haute couture interior. The infotainment system is the biggest change made to the I-Pace's interior, but the good news is the rest of the cabin didn't really need to be updated. There's beautiful and supple leather on the seats and door panels. The dashboard is covered in a swath of squishy soft plastic and the various switches and controls mostly feel good. The dual-zone climate control system's temperature and fan speed as well as the heated and ventilated front seats are all adjusted by a prominent pair of dials on the center stack, each of which has a small screen in the middle. You push or pull these knobs to activate different functions, which is a great idea, in theory at least, because it reduces clutter. In practice, however, this arrangement takes some time to get used to and mental processing to remember what doses what. The dials themselves also feel a bit fragile, cheaply clicking when you push or pull. Aside from that, there's also a small, 5.5-inch screen for handling other climate-related functions, though it looks a bit incongruous and appears washed out. The I-Pace gets high marks for comfort. The front chairs are plush yet supportive, and I love that the lower cushions can be angled up significantly to provide loads of support for your thighs. This SUV's aft accommodations are also surprisingly roomy, offering plenty of space for heads and legs. Plus the outboard spots are heated and passengers have access to 2 USB Type-C ports and a 12-volt power outlet. If they're relegated to steerage, the only things adults have to complain about are the surprisingly restrictive door openings, which make you contort your body in unusual ways to get in the backseat. Cargo space is another feather in this Jag's cap. The vehicle offers 25.3 cubic feet of space behind the rear seat and 51 cubes with the backrest lowered. Both counts are comparable to what you get in a Honda HR-V, though unfortunately, the load floor is not flat. When lowered, the rear backrests are still noticeably angled. Aside from in-cabin storage, the I-Pace also has a small front trunk. It clocks in at a whisker less than 1 cubic foot, enough for a briefcase or a couple grocery bags, but that's about it. An EV worthy of your consideration. When shopping for a 2022 Jaguar I-Pace, it's pretty much a one-and-done deal. The vehicle is offered in a single trim and with a sole battery size. The base price is around $70,350 including $1,150 in delivery fees, which is not cheap, though this SUV does feel like it's worth the asking price. As it sits, the example shown here checks out for $73,095, with fancy paint, some minor interior upgrades and a couple other small enhancements inflating the window sticker's big number. No, it's not the newest all-electric SUV on the block and it could certainly offer more range, but the I-Pace is still a delightful vehicle, one I quite enjoy. Don't forget about this one.